Sport Fishing on the Fly is brought to you by Togan's Fly Shop, Maui Jim Sunglasses, and Hardy Rods and Reels.
Okay.
Ah, we got him.
Got him. Oh, beautiful fish.
Oh, nice fish.
Nice fish.
Should we pump him?
I guess so.
I think we
find
better.
out.
Happen to have it here. I got
to-
Dale.
Okay. Oh, I'm tangled on. All right.
Not much. I'll let this guy go. Have a quick look. All right.
Beauty. Oh,
Not much, Dale.
not much. Something digested.
Yeah, well, it's early. Looks like
Yeah.
there's remnants of shrimp in there.
Shrimp, yeah.
But it's early in the morning.
Well, you just got him on a
good start,
shrimp, so that's
Yeah.
right off the bat. And after all the weather we've been having, this is glorious to be out where we've got calm conditions instead of the Arctic wind blowing.
Oh, another nice fish. Well, you know what? We've got a special treat today. We're with Brian Chan and the Bulldog, and we've got scud. That's what it's all about. We're going to fish scud in shallow water, show everybody how to do it. And that's today, so we take a sport fishing on the fly.
Another one on the shrimp. A lot of them hitting it, eh? They're hitting it hard, but
Yeah, it's
to hook up, that's a little smaller size shrimp too. I'm trying a smaller one.
yeah.
Oh, there he goes. Yeah, I got the little Malcolm shrimp on, but you guys have a little bigger.
Yep. 12. Yep.
Yeah, that's the biggest one I had, but
Yeah.
yours is bigger than that. Don Sparkle shrimp
Oh
seems
yeah.
to be bringing, the bigger the shrimp seems to be a
Yeah.
little better. But anyway, we'll try them throughout the day. We're trying different ones, but it's all shrimping.
It's a shrimp show.
It's all shrimping in the shallows. It's only like, you're fishing how much water, Brian?
Yeah.
Like it's only got to be 3 feet deep here.
Yeah. So we're just gonna keep bumping along this big shoal here, back and forth, and make 20, 30 casts and move, make 20, 30 casts and move, and intercept fish that are new fish that are coming on into literally, like you said, 2 and 3 feet of water. But once we spook one or two of them out of there, we got to rest it for a while.
Hit and run.
It's only fair.
It's the hit and run as we go. Good.
So we're gonna
Bump back.
Bump
Okay,
back.
Bump back. I'm not pulling anchors today. It's great. Another one on the shrimp, Brian.
yeah, it's
I'm going to have to. You've convinced me. And looked just like that custom little Malcolm Ruddock shrimp, wasn't
Yeah, I
it?
know,
The little
it's a-
blue-green one.
a little UV dark olive.
Dark olive UV. Be a good one for a bench segment for Dawn, I think.
Yeah.
That shrimp, it's a killer. There we are.
Wonderful.
Nice little fish.
These are pretty fish, though. eh?
Pretty good shape. And
It's a barbless hook too. It's
yeah, right in the mandible there.
stuck in there. Oh, there it is. Little shrimp. Get it in the light. You can see a little twinge. There we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Back he goes. Looking like an empty
Well,
vial.
there's look at that, Dale. There's 3 tiny, tiny hyalella shrimp in there.
Yeah, tiny. Wow.
So
That's
they're
tiny.
really not going yet, but they're on, and they're amazing. They're in like 3 feet of water, those fish. So they're looking, but maybe when the sun gets a little higher, they'll feed. Water temperature's good. It's 53 degrees. So it's perfect early fall fishing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice fish.
On the shrimp.
On the shrimp, right? That's a dandy.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice one. Oh, I gotta watch that back. Oh no, is that back anchor rope down? Oh, went by it. Oh, look at that. That's a nice one. Oh, quality fish. Big guy. On the scud. I had to go with the shrimp. You know, we've been working a leech. Had a nice one on a leech, lost it. Then Brian hooked a couple on the scud. We slid down the shoal a little bit, and I got into this guy, and this is a dandy. But I've gone through about 6 or 7 different scud patterns.
They sure pound it.
They sure do. Yeah, he ripped it. He wanted it.
I'm using 8.5 pound tippet.
Oh yeah, I've got heavy tippet on. This was from our last trip. That's quite heavy tippet. We're up in the Caribou, and there he is. There. Oh, whoa, man! You're hot fish in here, Bri.
Yeah.
Hot fish.
They're hot.
And we'll get a lot bigger fish, but that's a nice one. Boy, and if they come on the shrimp today, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I think he's ready. There he is. All right.
There's a nice trout, Don.
Nice trout.
There you go.
There it is there, one of our little sparkle scuds.
Yep.
Always works. Nice fish to start, not huge, but again, quality fish. Okay, let's try to grab him here. There it is there. Oh, look at the colors.
Beauty.
Beautiful fish.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Little shower brought him in hot. Jenner, yeah, on the scud.
It's good. The scud boys. I know.
Well, we'll keep
Got to do what we got to do. I mean, it's the time of year. They should be eating them.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll just keep doing what we're doing.
yeah. No, there's fish in there.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So I want to show everybody a little bit about the technique you're going to use when using shrimp. Now this is my favorite, and I know it's Dale's favorite, and actually Brian's. There we have our little, sparkle shrimp on here. What I like to do is keep my leaders short. So I've got, 6 feet. I've got some heavy leader here, and we're using actually 8-pound test because these fish are big, and when they hit these shrimp, when you're moving it, they smoke it. So that, again, the ideal thing to use. I've got a 6-weight rod here. 5 and 6 weights are good. Again, I prefer the 6s only because big fish, you're stripping line, and they hit it hard, along with a type 3. Now the beauty is we're casting into this really shallow water. Like I'm casting into 4 feet of water and bringing it out over 10 feet. So you just make a long cast. And then when you're bringing it back, real quick strips. So I just start going right off the bat. Now that type 3 is going to sink it down, a few feet, and just keep bringing it back. And you look at how quick these strips are. Now vary your retrieve. A lot of times they want it longer and slower, but most of the time when they're in the shallow water, they want it moving. And it's a really cool way to fish. So again, I'll just make another cast. So cast it into the shallows. We love, wind at your back obviously is always the best. Once it hits, just start going. And when those fish are cruising, especially in late fall, mid to late fall, the big guys going to the shallows, they're looking for shrimp. That's all they're feeding on. And you bring this fly back at this speed, and when they hit it, unless you got 8 or 10 pound test on, they'll break you off. So that's kind of the way we're doing it. Today on the bench, we're going to tie you up Malcolm Ruddock's UV shrimp. It's one of the best shrimp patterns I've ever used. So make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. For the hook, we'll use a size 12 scud pupa hook. We'll tie with some 8/0 olive nano silk. We'll use a 3/32 inch gold bead as the bead. For the body, we'll use some UV2 CLX dark olive dubbing, an olive grizzly micro saddle hackle for the hackle, some small gold wire for the rib, and 1/8" olive midge flex for the tail and back. To start the fly off, I've put the bead onto the hook, and of course the small narrow end towards the eyelet. Take my thread and just tie in a quick little mount onto the hook. Now that we have the thread tied on, I'm going to take my fine gold wire. I'm going to start it just behind the bead, and I'm going to work it all the way back. And I'm going to go slightly down the hook bend, not halfway, but slightly down, and keep the wire off the back for ribbing in later. Now that we have the wire tied in, I'm going to take a small micro saddle hackle, and you know, these are fairly long fibers, but it is still small. And I've peeled off the very ends, and we're going to tie that in. We're now going to take a little bit of our dubbing, and these are longer strands of dubbing. Keep it very thin. Again, just dub on a few strands at a time. Just dub it straight onto your thread. And once you have it dubbed on, we're just going to wrap it forward to form the body. And keep the body fairly thick. You know, shrimp have a thick body, so I usually go over it a couple times. Now that we have the body tied in, I'm going to take my hackle that I've had off the back, and I'm going to wrap it forward the opposite direction. I just dub the body in and take about, you know, 6 to 7 wraps up, just to get some legs on there. Now the hackle's tied in, well, you've got a bunch of extra hackle on top. What we're going to do is just trim right down off the top. And a lot of the side ones you want to leave, the side and the bottom, but just trim kind of right off the top and on a bit of an angle. Now that the body and the hackle's tied in, I'm going to take some of my midge flex. I'm going to take a loose wrap right behind the bead, and then a couple of tight wraps. Pull that excess forward, take a couple more wraps, and then pull the excess to pull it off, just so it cuts it nice and fine. Then what I'm going to do is one quick whip finish. Just a quick whip on there, on the head, and then I'm going to get my thread of the way for the next stage. Now that we have our thread of the way, I'm going to actually pull my scud back, essentially this midge flex, back a little bit. Take my wire that I had off the back, and I'm pulling that along the back. I'm going to take one loose wrap. Now don't pull this first one too tight, because you're going to wrap your midge flex too hard. You want to take a real nice wrap, and then the next wrap you're going to tighten up. And then I'm going to take about 6 to 7 wraps up the back and the body. And then tie off right behind the bead. And when you're pulling off your wire, just wiggle it. Just wiggle and slowly pull it, and that'll break the wire off right near behind the bead. Now to finish the fly off, we're actually going to take a couple of whips up at the front, just right behind the bead, just to secure everything in place. Cut off your thread, and then what we're going to do is cut the tail, and we want the tail to be quite small. It's just going to be about as long as the bead, so we want quite a short little tail on the fly. And you got a choice. You can leave it just like that as a little tag, or you can actually cut it in half. You can actually take it out of the vise, and I usually put a little slice in so it actually forms 2 tails. So there it is, Malcolm's UV shrimp. As I mentioned earlier, it's one of the best shrimp patterns I've ever used in the fall, especially when we're stripping it on a type 3 line. So make sure you have some in your fly box for the fall.
Oh, now he's mad. Oh, it's funny, eh? They want to go back to right back in the shallows where he came out of. But that's all we pumped out of them, eh? Today we went out, tried a little chironomid fishing, but they're all just on shrimp. all they're
Yeah,
eating.
they're just coming in and out of the shoals.
Yeah.
They're not, I mean, it's still pretty early fall, water temperature wise. Wouldn't know it by the air temperature today, but
No. Well, this whole week has been nasty. Just nasty. We've been on that whole swing through the Caribou. We're finishing off down
Yeah.
here. And it's just been terrible weather. Cold, windy. Come on.
yeah,
There he comes.
the lakes are still taking their time cooling down though. But the water's nice. Good
Very
color.
fat. This guy just won't relinquish. How fat he is. There he is. Oh,
Good job.
good fighter.
Well, we had to come back to the flats,
Yeah, that's right. Seems like that's all they're eating is scud.
but I switched. I put on a
Oh,
baby tequila.
what a sneaky guy. What the heck? Right in front of me. I'm the tequila guy. Brian, look at that. He switches
Well, they've been
over.
plucked. You know, they ate our shrimp earlier, but they've been really picky. So, and Dale got lots of bites on it in deeper water. So I thought, what the hell?
He was sneaky. We never saw him do it. Look at that.
Yeah, well,
Nice, yeah.
we'll catch him again next year.
Well, we saw him move and we fired it in there how many times with the shrimp. The Channer makes the quick little switcheroo in behind the scenes and gets him.
Pretty creative for me, though.
Pretty
Eh?
creative it was with tequila. And he nails them. Unreal. Right out from under me. Okay, Brian, while we're eating lunch, I thought I would, jeez, I figured I'd try to ask you a couple questions to dispel a couple of rumors.
Sure.
I know a lot of people catch fish in the fall. They're all colored up. And we've had comments saying, oh, are those spawners? Or,
Yeah.
you know, and we know they don't spawn to the spring. So what is that all about?
Yeah. So what happens typically with diploid rainbows, is particularly the males, they'll start to color up, get the red bar down the side of their flanks, start to get the hook nose, and they'll start doing that in late September, October, all through November. And then they'll coast through the winter months because they do that because they're still actively feeding in the fall, so they've got the energy to put towards development of their milt, or if it was a female, to eggs. But what you got to remember is that if you catch a great big male that's maturing and it's the end of October, it's still 5.5 months before it's going to spawn. And so it's a prime fish. That's just Mother Nature. They're getting ready while they can, while the water's still warm enough for them to develop.
Oh, good. So basically, they're colored, but they're
Yeah.
in prime condition.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they don't fight like a big spawner.
Yeah.
They're in prime
Yeah.
condition.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one that a lot of people talk about is fall turnover. They say the lake's turning over. Don't go fish there. What's that about?
Well, certainly lakes turn over twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall. Well, it seems to be a lot of misunderstanding amongst anglers about fall turnover. So the way fall turnover works is when the water temperature is uniform from top to bottom, it'll mix. And water is most dense when it's 4 degrees centigrade or 39 degrees Fahrenheit. So when the water is at temperature from top to bottom, the surface waters will sink to the bottom, and then you add the wind and the lake will mix. But what a lot of anglers think come mid-September, well, lake's cooling down, they got to turn over. Well, today's the end of September, and the lake we're on right now is still 53 degrees, or about 11.5 degrees centigrade. So it's still got to drop a huge amount before the water's even going to come close to turning over.
Right.
So it doesn't, turnover doesn't happen as soon as we hit September 15th. Lots of times it's not occurring until mid to late October, and in some some lower elevation lakes, it might not be until November. So it's all air temperature driven, and a lot to do with how much wind there is. But the lake does have to cool down substantially before it's going to turn over.
Okay, good. And you probably best get local knowledge before you go out and fish, just like in the spring.
Exactly.
Right? They turn over at different times.
You'll know when you're on a lake that's turning over exactly. Because the water's going to be turbid, whether it's in spring turnover or fall turnover, and the fishing's not going to be very good at all.
Exactly. Good. Thanks, Bry.
All right. Time for cheesies.
Time for cheesies.
Oh, pretty decent day out there scudding.
Yeah. I never touched a fish on the indicator. It was all wetline today.
I had the one to start on the leech, on the indicator, and after that it was all shrimp.
Yeah.
All shrimp except for one little sneaky.
Well, that's right.
One little baby tequila in there.
Stuck on tequila, but beautiful little lake. Yeah, we didn't name it. It's up in the Thompson area, near Kamloops. Big fish. We're gonna try to hit a few more later on. October. It's still early fall, so we're looking at doing some more stuff. But if you want some of the best fishing, you got to stop hunting and get out and do some fishing in the fall. That's when you get it all happening. Bri, thanks for coming along.
Yeah, it was great to see you guys again. We go out fishing.
Right on. And the Bulldog, of course. When you come out here, take care. Conserve waters, and we'll see you next time when we take sport fishing on the fly. To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one showing, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.